Let's just sew whatever. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are making this Meow bag from Studio 77. She sent me this pattern and asked if I would do a video. Sorry it took so long, but this pattern is so cute. The only thing I changed is the method of sewing the gusset, just so you had a little more room. I'm super glad I did because that would have been a bit of a pain, but you could finish this bag with binding. I think a lot of people are just afraid of binding, so it was easier to finish it with a lined gusset. But I think binding would really give the ears a nice shape. But the foam worked great. The only interfacing I used is the foam on the bottom gusset and exterior main panels. Nothing on the slip pocket. I used vinyl and waterproof canvas. Super cute back zippered pocket. And then I added a double-sided strap just to add a little pizzazz. Other than that, let's go ahead and get to sewing it. All right, I have everything I need right in front of me, minus the zipper tape. Let me go ahead and grab that. My zippers are now prepped and ready to go. I have a full bobbin, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with my straps and connectors, etc. That'll help me not run out. I have a total of 3 zippers. I have one really long for my main zipper. I like to add 2 zipper pulls to those, and then I have 2 zippers for my exterior zipper pockets. I've got these really big cap pulls I think will be super fun. These are from Dulce hardware, and we will have all those links down below. These are my strap pieces here, and then I'm just gonna kind of get everything else organized. I have 2 exterior zipper panels, and then I should have 2 lining zipper panels. Let's go ahead and find those. Here are my 2 strap connectors, so I want to keep this over here for my strap situation. Main exteriors, there's that other lining piece. So I'll go ahead and clip these together along with my zipper. And I like to cut my zipper at least 3 inches longer than I really need it to be, just so it's super easy to move your zippers out of the way. All right, here's lining pieces. These are the waterproof canvas scraps that I cut to help reinforce these connectors. We got slip pocket. This is my outer zipper pocket. So I'm going to put this in my exterior pile along with one of these zipper pulls. Just clip that together. Lining. This is my front slip pocket. This is lining. And I'm going to need another zipper for this. And I think I'm going to add my zipper overlay to the inside because the other zipper is too tall for me to have added this to the exterior. This is not part of the pattern. This is just my own addition. I may have mentioned in the intro, this bag could very easily be made with binding. I am, however, not going to. I just wanted to follow the pattern as close as possible, but I am going to make some changes only to the gusset, how that's sewn together. I have a method that'll work just a little bit easier for getting right up against those corners in the gusset. So I am adding double-sided tape to my waterproof canvas to stick that in the center. You could also use a grosgrain ribbon for this. Okay, more double-sided tape. I'm going to be using a lot here. Okay, got that folded around. My stitch length is set to about 5, and I am sewing just 1/8 of an inch from that edge to top stitch all of that together. And if your machine does not like double-sided tape, that's okay, because we didn't really sew through it here for top stitching, so you're still clear to use it. But you may want to think of a different way to do your crossbody strap than what I'm doing, so that you're not sewing through it. Okay, I've got my D-rings threaded through. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. We're not going to need them for a while, but I'd rather have them prepped and ready to go. Okay, I'm going to start with the top part of the strap. You can see my center line is a little wobbly. That's okay. It'll be fine. I don't like the way the 1/2" double-sided tape feels on the waterproof canvas, so I am using, I think this is 1/4 inch, it might be 3/8 of an inch. I don't truly know. Looks like 3/8 to be honest. So I'm just adding a piece along either side. If you wanted to, you could use like a seam roller to make sure you've got that pressed nicely. I think having a seam roller is really nice, especially if you have any sensory issues. Sometimes running your hands along fabrics isn't a good feeling, so I'm going to set that there. All right, we're going to peel that up, and I'm just going to meet this to the line I drew. Like right now, maybe I'll try it. I just find that this one doesn't have like enough of a weight for me to feel like it's doing anything. Or like it's uneven, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's user error. But I can get even pressure from my finger. Start on the same end to fold that, and normally I leave a little gap, but I'm not folding this strap over on itself, so I don't need to leave a little gap on purpose. So doing double-sided straps definitely takes a couple extra minutes, but it's a really satisfying finish. It just looks so pretty. And then you get to pick if you want that accent on the top or on the bottom or what, but there is what that'll look like. So pretty. All right, and then I'll grab the bottom piece. And this vinyl, it sits nicely with the 1/2", so I'm just going to add my 1/2" wide down the center, pressing it as I go. I would love to know down below, what is your favorite way to make a strap? Do you enjoy doing double-sided straps? I know Erica from Lavender and Twine has a huge like add-on pack of different ways to make straps. I really need to check it out. I know I talk about it, I've just never looked into it fully, but there's a method that's similar to this, but it's kind of like a pop of fabric in the center, and you have vinyl or a solid contrasting fabric enveloping it along the edges. So I think that's a really cool way of making a strap while still being domestic friendly because it's less layers. So okay. Now another piece of double-sided tape to help me hold all of these layers together. So you could use 1/2 inch wide or 2 pieces of like 1/4 inch wide, but you definitely want a big enough piece to help you hold that accent strip into place. I may have to do some of this off of the camera's line of sight so that I can get it lined up nicely. I'm trying to keep everything above this ruler, but I need it under the ruler to really see it well. So I'm just gonna lay it over top, and there'll be just that little pop on either side. Why not? What's kind of cool about this method is there is no better way to start. Like with a traditional crossbody strap, when you fold it and then fold it, it's easiest to start along the edge that you folded so you can get that closed. And then I am just doing my best to follow the edge of the accent fabric. So pretty. All right, so you want the accent side facing down. No. So if I do that and then this, so I want it face up. Yeah. Because now that's the wrong side. I'll slide through, and this will be on the top of the strap. Yes, that's what I want. Now you could add a rivet here if you aren't able to sew close enough to your hardware. I like to do a back stitch line, kind of pivot, lift up, and just do 2 parallel lines of stitching together. All right, and then we have the quote unquote wrong side of my strap facing up. Grab one of my snap hooks. And all the hardware I'm using is available on my website if you're interested. All those links are down below. So pretty. And then you can sew this, or you could add 2 rivets, or you could do a box and then 2 rivets. I think I'm gonna do a box and then maybe not add rivets. All right, and that is our crossbody strap finished and our strap connectors prepped and ready to go. Like I said, if you wanted to add a rivet here, you could, but I think it looks nice without. Roll that up and it's ready for later. Now we're gonna go ahead and get started on our slip pocket for the front. This is kind of a good way for us to get our feet wet into sewing this pattern. We're gonna transfer this little mark here, and then we know where to start and stop sewing. And the seam allowance is pretty consistent throughout the pattern, a 3/8 of an inch. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a stitch length of 4. I'm gonna come in at that line, pivot, and then just go really slow around the curve. Pinking shears. If you want to make sure that this pocket is really structured and stands up, I would say to cut something like Sophie's Plus or Decaville Light out of the seam allowance. Another thing that's going to do is give you the perfect guide to sew along. So if you were to print this out and cut your interfacing just along that and put that on there. Because I'm using vinyl and waterproof canvas, I really didn't feel the need to add any interfacing for this. So I did not. And then we're just gonna gently poke out those corners. Because I used my pinking shears really close to the edge, I don't wanna go too far with how far I'm poking it out. And then right here, you wanna make sure you open this to flatten it as well. So take your time unrolling this seam, add clips as you go, and just make sure you don't hurt it. I'm tempted to keep I don't know if I want the flowers to be the exterior or if I want them to be the lining. Like, do I want the flowers to be laid against the holographic fabric on the exterior to create a fun contrast? Or do I want it to be same? So this little corner here, so this is going to get attached to the exterior without the pocket. So let's see. That would be what that looks like. That would be what that looks like. I think I'm going to do all holographic on the exterior. I think it's fun, but we'll keep the flowers on the strap. All right. Stitch length at 4.5 for top stitching, and I'm just going really slow around the edge. So cute. Okay, and then I wanted to add my nameplate to this side. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Okay, and then I'm gonna base that into place. I'm gonna follow this edge because I overcut my slip pocket just a little bit, so you can see, I can see better from this side where the edge is. And then I can trim up to match the exterior side very easily, quickly. So cute. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the zippered pocket on the back. Looks like this is about a 7-inch. No, okay. 6-inch. No, yeah, 6-inch. So to make that, I'm going to measure 3 inches down. Nope. 1 inch down from the top. Center my ruler at 3 inches. And just trace the 6. And now sliding my ruler down to meet the 1/2 inch mark of the ruler. And there is the box. So we want this to be right sides together, and I'm just kind of feeling through. Yeah, that's good. Maybe mark the center. That'd be a good idea. Can you tell I haven't done a zipper box like this in a very long time? Like, forgotten how to do it completely. Okay, centers are snipped. I can line that up. Yep, we're good. Slide that down just a tiny bit. So because I don't fully trust my usual method with vinyl, I'm going to sew down the sides, and you just want to make sure that you're keeping your needle in that corner perfectly so that your zipper box has a really nice shape. Okay, so boom, in the corner, pivot, move up, boom, in the corner, move over. Okay. And then we're going to take some super sharp scissors to make sure we cut into that corner really nicely. I'm going to grab these Kai scissors that my friend Nikki gave me forever ago. So I'm cutting up and then just so close, but not through it. The closer you get, the better it's going to look. But when I tell you, you do not want to sew, you do not want to cut through that. I mean, do not cut through that. It would be so bad. Okay, we're going to flip that through. And pull on that. I can iron my waterproof canvas really quick, so I'm going to go do that. I'm just going to press it with steam. That's going to make it more malleable. And it's really, one little burst. Now you don't want to see any of your lining from the exterior side, so keep that in mind. And then we want the zipper pull to be going towards the right. I'm going to grab some double-sided tape, just 1/8 inch wide, super tiny. This will just help hold it in place. Whoop, whoop. I'm gonna tape this down. Just gonna take a little piece of tape. Better. I just wanted to make sure that was really nicely centered in there. Now I like to leave my zipper pull off to the edge here, edge, whatever, and pull it in before I finish sewing that up. So this is a really big zipper pull, so I'm gonna need to make sure I leave quite a large gap. All right, I have peeled that tape off of the other side. Okay. Stitch length is still at about 4.5. And then I'm just manipulating that seam so that you can't see much, if any, of that lining fabric. All right, should be big enough. And then just make sure you rearrange your layers before you continue on. Okay, and then we'll just close this pocket. We're going to sew across the side, top, and bottom, and then we can trim the excess zipper tape, but you want to make sure it's within your seam allowance. This is going to help with the longevity of your zipper. Okay, I'm just going to fold. Oh, I'm so used to sealing up the bottom edge. Okay. So, exterior panels completed. We're done with these pieces, so I'm just going to clip them together, set them to the side. And then next in my stack is my gusset, so we'll go ahead and get started on that. This is where I'm changing up some things. I thought about making this bag with binding, and then I was like, no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not saying binding is a cop-out, but binding makes life easier. Well, the easier way of binding makes life easier. So I'm not going to do it. I am going to add double-sided tape to one side of each of these panels. If your fabric is directional, make sure your tape is going where your zipper would go. So if this were your exterior, you would want your tape to mirror across that panel. Okay, and then we're going to take one exterior, one lining, and our zipper. Peel this tape. I would say you really don't want to add too much interfacing to the top of this gusset. You don't want it to be super stiff or bounce back at you while you're trying to maneuver it to fit the cat ear shape. So I don't think I'm going to regret not having added any actual interfacing to this. I am sewing as close to the zipper as I can. Pressing the lining out of the way. Folding the top exterior fabric down, pressing to make a nice edge, and sewing. And then we're going to repeat adding lining and exterior. Make sure that the linings are touching right sides together. And your exteriors are touching right sides together. Oh my god, can you imagine making this bag out of like faux fur or something? That would be so cute. All right, now comes the super fun part. Sewing the bottom of the gusset to the top. Now in her pattern, she words it in a way that's going to make it tricky. Here's what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to sew across the lining fabrics only. Back stitch, lift up over the exterior. I've got the exterior folded out of the way. Back stitch at the zipper. Make sure you're not going through the exterior fabric. Okay. And then trim my jump thread. Okay. So it is open here. That's okay. We're going to close it. Don't worry. Trust the process. Trust me. You could trust the actual sewing pattern too. That's fine. But I'll show you. It's easy. I also should state there is absolutely nothing wrong with the way the pattern is written. There's always going to be 5 different ways, if not more, of sewing the same thing. And as long as you come up with a result you're happy with, there's really no wrong to it. All right. Trying to remember how I do this. Yes. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to, I have not added my strap connector yet. I realize that, and I will. So I'm just sewing the exterior fabrics together, keeping the lining up out of the way. So you can see these are completely separate, but they're sewn. This is good. We like this. And you can use this method for pretty much anything that you're wanting to avoid binding. If you've watched like my Diedelbug mini backpack, I've done this 5 million times in it. All right, so trim that jump thread. We're gonna flip this. Beautiful. All right, so now you're going to fold the lining up out of the way at an angle like this. We're gonna fold this down. Okay, grab my connector. And this gets slid in. So you can actually set it exactly where you want it. And then we're gonna top stitch. So this completely closes off that panel and completely top stitches the panel. So you might think it's a little weird here now though. That's okay. We're just going to make a tiny little snip. This is within your seam allowance. And you can see now it sits flat. Okay, folding that up and out of the way. If you need to, you could like clip it like that. Grab my strap connector. Just that little relief snip. So now our exterior and lining are completely separate along that seam, making it super easy for us to add lining and exterior. The only downside to this is that it's not as tight of a fit for the lining. Like there could be some sag to it, but I'll show you a trick when we get there that'll help bring that back and tighten it. And then another thing we can do, we could even do this now because you'll still be able to completely move the lining and the exterior from each other, is you could either add like some stitching here to secure that strap connector even more, or we could just add a little rivet through the exterior and the lining too. So up to you, but I'm really quickly going to snip my centers. I really am gonna. So if you were going to finish this bag with binding, you could just sew all of this together in a circle. It would be super quick and easy. But if you are not a fan of binding, then you wouldn't like that method. So it's good to show other methods and remind yourself you know how to do it. We're going to set that aside and we're going to finish up our lining. We have a slip pocket and a zippered pocket, and that's it. In the pattern, I believe she has these connected to the same side. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to go ahead and do separate just because. add a label. Oh, that's very pretty. All right, so slip pocket. Oh my gosh. I love that even for the exterior if you wanted to make it a little bit easier for you. All right, and then this pocket I'm gonna do with the overlay. Grabbing a label, some double-sided tape. I'm gonna tape this. All right, your zipper gets attached right side up to the lining. And then linings right sides together as you attach the other side of the zipper. And you could just iron this next part, but I find sewing it down to be more effective and I don't have to move away from the sewing machine. And I love that. I love that for me and I love that for you. Throw those anywhere. Okay, more double-sided tape. No. Oh, my nail. Oh well. broken down so far. All right, I've got that zipper overlay centered and I am top stitching around the outer edge. Just cuts so nicely. All right, peeling off one side of the double-sided tape from the zipper. Don't do both. You'll just make your life harder. Unless you're a wizard, do both. Props to you. Get one side in place and then focus on the other. That looks so pretty. All right, and then I gotta remember I need to leave a very large opening for that zipper pull. Go slow, especially if you're using a domestic machine. The bulk unevenness could be weird sewing, and it might try to jump off track. All right, here we go. Bring it in. Good talk. Bring it in, bring it in. Contour. Okay. All right. Things may have gotten off track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip it back up, press everything down, and then unzip again to get it out of the way. Things are sitting nice and even. Pivot. Ugh, I just can't get over how broken this nail is right now. I need to move on. Okay. All right, and now we're going to fold this down. And keep in mind, if you are turning the bag through the opening, you want to close this pocket. I do this just a little bit differently. I'm gonna fold up and top stitch the edge. Well, sew along the edge. Fold this up evenly along the bottom edge. So cute. All right, we're ready to put this bad boy together. I want slip and zipper together, slip and zipper together. I already have the markings of about where my gusset should meet with this piece, so we'll start there. It's gonna be tricky. We're gonna need to add some clips, but you can see we're gonna be able to pull the lining fully away from that panel to clip this all together. Snip your center. There it is. All right, I have snipped the center and I'm lining up my gusset to that slip pocket, top edge, just about. Then the bottom centers should meet. And then we should be able to just kind of sit this curve together. If you need to, you can make those little tiny snips. You don't need a ton, but you can see how much that helped. Just let that sit right where it needs to. Okay, and again, we can just totally turn this out of the way. So I want to create some little relief snips right here. Because you're trying to get this flat thing to go across this curved thing. So again, just make the tiniest little snips to help line that up. And we are snipping into the gusset, not the exterior. Just tiny little bits. And we get to do this 4 times. Perfect. Pick an edge to start with. And we're just gonna follow, hello Ben. Go to your spot. Follow the edge of the foam. Okay, so I'm stopping at the ear so that I can leave the needle in, press my fabric down a little bit better around that curve, and then continuing on, moving the fabric back out of the way from my foot, and there we go. So then we want to use pinking shears. I'm only going to use pinking shears along this top edge. I think the bottom curve with that foam, the shape's going to hold pretty well on its own. And I'm not cutting through my side connector here. You don't want to do that. Okay, so now this piece, you're going to fold the other half of your gusset in and make sure that your lining gusset is folded up. They're separate from each other because now I want to connect the lining. Need to snip my centers. So if you were going to do this with binding, all you would need to do is sew these pieces right sides together. Sew these pieces right sides together. Sew your gusset all right sides together. And then you connect your exterior pieces to each other and then bind those edges. I do have a video of making a coffin shaped toiletry bag, and that is a shaped bag bound with binding, obviously. So it is tricky. It takes a little bit longer, but it is faster overall than doing this. But I don't mind, like I said. So I am clipping the bottom, but we're not going to be sewing the bottom. This is where we're going to turn the bag through. If you need to, you can make little pen marks. I am going to continue clipping with the gusset up. And my lining piece will be flat against the sewing machine. So this is my other side. We're folding that down. I am still clipping along the whole bottom edge, even if I'm not sewing it. And that's so the top of my gusset is still sitting nicely. Okay, so that sits nicely. Now I can flatten this to match up the ears. There we go. Make sure your other side of your gusset is completely out of the way as you're clipping. You want to make sure you can feel the layers you're clipping through and that it's only your lining pieces. All right, I'm gonna start along the bottom that I'm leaving the opening for. So I'm gonna back stitch and then continue on. And I'm bunching up my exterior so it's out of the way of the seam allowance. Ah, okay, good. I was like, I ran out of bobbin. How long has it been? Not very long. Okay, good. There's nothing worse than sewing a difficult curve and realizing you've run out of bobbin. Makes me want to cry and throw up at the same time. But luckily, we didn't do that. If you're going to make this bag with like a super thick vinyl or anything like that, please, please, please finish it with binding. This would be such a pain in the hands with anything thicker than the materials I'm using right now. All right, I'm getting close to the bottom, and I have a really nice size opening to turn the bag through. So I can unclip all of this And then to keep the lining nice and tight to the top of the bag, what we're gonna do is pinch these together, lining up that seam. And I'm gonna clip it together. And then within the seam allowance, we're gonna baste it. You could do this by hand too if you wanted. But I'm literally just gonna do a quick little straight line. Okay, so now those are together. When I flip this, they're nice and tight with each other so that it's not sagging down. And because we have that foam on the main panel, you can see the shape of the bag is nice and tight. So that's the edge that's sewn together. So we can turn this. Right side's out, but I'm going to then fold the gussets away from each other. So we have my exterior, we have our lining. I'm gonna start with the exterior because it's gonna matter what that looks like. The lining, I mean, it definitely matters what it looks like, but nah. So let's go ahead and transfer those markings for the gusset placement. So I'm now officially done with this pattern piece. We'll clip that together and move along. Alrighty, exterior. Make sure those are meeting up. So there is the center. So I'm clipping with the gusset face up. I can see my clips this way. And then we're gonna find where our gusset gets attached, right at that mark. So it's nice to have those 4 points squared away, and then you can ease everything else into place. I don't need to clip this one like I did the other side. Probably couldn't still hurt, but that's okay. And having the foam stabilizer helps. You can see it's keeping the shape of the bag really nicely, but it's not pushing back. It's not adding stiffness or anything like that. So definitely good call adding foam. So keep your lining out of the way. We're focusing on exterior. And we're going to snip along the top of the ear, just barely. Maybe every ½ inch or so. Only through the gusset. And then I'm like pushing it into place. Perfect. All right. Yay, last side. Unzip your bag. Press your other side of the gusset in there. Get it in there. Here's our opening. You could also leave your zipper pocket open. Okay, We're going to fold this in half. Now this side, we are going to sew the whole way. So I'm just gonna add 3 clips to keep that in place. We're then gonna find our other clipping point, which is where the gusset should attach to the lining. Clip that. I like to fold my gusset down. Snipping along the curve of the bottom. Okay. Careful snips along the gusset. Center marked there. Clip that. Make sure your zipper teeth are out of the way, out of that seam as you're clipping and snipping. Otherwise, you've just ruined your bag on the last step. We don't want that. No, we don't want that. All right. Getting difficult now. We did it. Sorry, that was loud. In the midst of all the quiet. Whew. It was an arm workout and some concentration going on there. Okay. Trimming along the ears, just gently. All right, and then we're gonna do that same thing that we did on the other side, where we bring the lining and the exterior together and add a little stitch to keep them in place. So I'm gonna push the extra fabric out of the way and just line that up there and smoosh it down. This might not be domestic able. So just go slow, use the zipper foot if you have to, or press it down. There we go. Just that little tiny bit is gonna help make a difference. All right, trim all your extra little threads if you want, or don't. Who's gonna know? Nobody's gonna know. So now we can turn the bag. I've reached in and grabbed the side I sewed previously, the gusset, away so that I can reach the very bottom of the bag. There we go. I was feeling my slip pocket, so make sure you can feel the bottom exterior of your bag. Pull that through first. Don't whack yourself in the face with a bag. And we can push the lining in. Make sure you're poking out those ears. You should not have to use a tool, but if you do, be very, very careful, especially if you use pinking shears. That seam is fragile. Okay. Now, before I close up the lining hole completely, I want to make sure I've got all of my edges pressed out. So I'm moving the lining back out from the bag. I'm reaching into our zipper pocket, pulling the zipper pocket up. It's a very small zipper pocket, so having to have turned this bag through it would not be easy. Okay. Then we'll grab our bottom lining that's still left unsewn. Pull it gently, you don't want to risk ripping anything. And then I still have my centers snipped. So what I'm gonna do so that I don't have to pull out too much more is just clip the center. I'm gonna start within the seam allowance and back stitch, and then continue on sewing the lining shut. And once I get to that clipped center line, then I can arrange the other side. And back stitch off into the seam allowance. And then press that back into the bag. And make sure you press I'm using my hands as fists and just rubbing everything nice and flat along the gusset, making sure everything sits nicely. And then we're going to close the zipper pocket. Before you close that, if you need to press along the seam with your hands anymore, you still can. but we can fold the bottom in on itself. Clip. Pressing zipper pocket in. That was the last step. We can just clip the crossbody strap on. I was really focusing on what I was doing there. I think this pull is absolutely perfect with it because it's like the same shape of the bag. So it's so fun. And then this double-sided strap brings a little pop of that lining to the exterior. Making it super fun. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Definitely check out Studio 77 and be sure to subscribe to her channel. Check out her Instagram and her Facebook group and the sewing club that she has. And I will see you all next time. Bye.